All right, guys. Happy July 4th, Independence Day. Hope you all are doing well. 235 years ago today, our founding fathers decided to declare independence from England, and the Brits are still not happy about it, although they might win a Euro soon to comfort themselves.
No.
Filippo and I are here. Filippo's like, no, it's not going to happen. Who do you think is going to win, Filippo, the Euros?
I think it's either between Italy or Spain right now. I think it's going to be one of those.
So who do you think is going to win between Spain and England?
Spain? You mean Denmark and England?
I'm sorry, Denmark and England.
So
well, it can't be. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to say England just to jinx England.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. So I think actually Denmark has a chance, but thing is, things has just been working out for England at this point. But eventually, England will have to face a good opponent in form.
Yeah.
Eventually, they haven't yet. So eventually they will.
Yeah. How's everybody doing? Mike, American Soccer United, Mohammed Wasi. I'm on for the first time. That's awesome. Carter, how you doing? Edson Alvarez's dad. I love that. Joseph, Krispy Kreme Donut. Ken, Joshua, Edwin. How's everybody doing? It's good to see you all here. Thanks for joining us for this July 4th hangout. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about World Cup qualifying venues for our home games, which, we already have some news about that today, which we'll get into. Everybody knows Filippo from Tactical Manager, guys. If you have not already subscribed, I think probably at this point most of you are subscribed, but we're getting new guys every time. J. Todd P.O., first live chat for me. Happy 4th, guys. Happy 4th to you too. Ariz Alam. Yeah, so go subscribe to Tactical Manager, Filippo's channel. And guys, do me a favor before we get into this. Smash that like button so other people can find us. Thanks again for coming to hang with us and talk about, USMNT stuff. We got a lot to talk about. Filippo, what are you doing today? Have you done anything for July 4th?
No, I actually just stayed home. I went with my parents here to get some barbecue with them. And then Palmeiras played, so me and my dad watched the game together. So pretty much just that, just hung out, family.
Nice.
But nothing too crazy. Yesterday, I went to the Orlando City game, so we had the fireworks there. That's where I celebrated.
Nice.
Today, I just relaxed a little more.
Did you take Mariana with you?
She's in Texas right now, actually.
Oh, she's still in Texas. Okay.
Yeah, she's in Texas. I'm going to try to visit her some point this month, or she'll come here. But yeah, she's in Texas. I just celebrated yesterday. Today, I stayed home. Too much going on here. Too much going on. I need to relax one day. And what about you?
Good, man. I didn't do much today. I was just preparing for the live stream. But after this, my girlfriend and I and some friends are climbing to the top of Griffith Park, and we're going to watch the fireworks from up there. It's like a big iconic place to watch from LA. So just going to do that. But yeah, I wanted to come and do this hangout. It's Sunday. At first, I was like, people are going to be busy July 4th. Maybe we shouldn't do it. But I think enough people have, are going to come hang. So it seems to be pretty good. Yeah. Colin, happy 4th from the future. It's July 5th here. Thailand's July 4th canceled 2 years in a row. Thanks, COVID. Wait, they don't celebrate July 4th in Thailand, do they? Maybe you go to the American Embassy. That's what I used to do, Colin, when I was living in Thailand. We used to go to the American Embassy for July 4th celebrations. And they would have all the Thai employees dressed in like United States gear, which was really funny. But yeah, it was a good time.
Pete, can I real quick just address the Ethan Horvath thing? So
let's talk about Ethan Horvath before we get into World Cup qualifying.
So, guys, real quick, before anyone understands, it's not a misunderstanding. Ethan Horvath is not confirmed to go to Huddersfield. Any transfer is only confirmed when a club confirms it. I was told, by sources that should be reliable, they haven't let me down so far, that Ethan Horvath has 4 offers, to which 3 of them, they confirmed they come from the UK in the championship. The 4th one, they just didn't tell me what it was. And then they kind of leaked or told me that it seems like Huddersfield is a pretty reasonable one that might happen. The other 2, I can't talk about it. Pete, I talked about it with Pete. He's not going to leak it. Don't ask him. But the other 2 are also 2 possibilities. The 4th one, I don't know. So what I think is happening is I think the deal is done. Wherever he's going, the deal is done. But he's having visa issues that he's trying to figure out. He might be able to get the visa due to playing the Champions League team last season. But, yeah, that's how he's going to get it. But he might not go to Huddersfield. It might be another. What seems very likely based on what they told me, they said it's like 90% certain that he'll go to a championship team. That seems like it will be what will happen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it'll be interesting to see. It sucks about his visa situation. The English have these archaic rules about, visa, and you have to represent your country. The guy just won the Nations League, for crying out loud. He also played against Switzerland and Portsmouth. But I think the rule is you have to play a certain amount of competitive games for your country to qualify automatically for a visa, right?
Yeah, it's complicated. And also the whole Brexit thing also complicates it.
Yeah, it's complicated right now. But I'd be fine with him in the championship. I just want him to go somewhere and start. And I think the championship is a good enough spot where it's a pretty decent level of play, but it's not so high that the pressure is going to be a massive jump from playing for Bruges, you know? And if he has a couple of good years in the championship, you know, who knows how far he could go, right? So I like it.
And someone asked there, Pete, like, do you guys lose your sources if you leak the two clubs or whatever? It's not really about losing a source or anything. It's just people we know, some of them, and when they tell you, it's because they trust you. And if they ask you not to say it, you don't say it.
Yeah. So,
like,
guys, yeah, go ahead.
Like Caden Clark, we knew about the transfer. We knew about the appendicitis ahead of time, but they asked not to say it, so we didn't say it. It's more about trusting people, being a good person at the end of the day. It's not about losing or winning sources.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Because when you're talking with sources, you know, I always ask, can I leak this? You know, and do you want credit for leaking it, or do you want me to leak it anonymously? And whatever they say, you have to go with, right? Otherwise, they're not going to be your source anymore. It's just about respect and stuff. So, guys, before we jump into World Cup qualifying, guys, tell me in the chat what you guys are doing for your July 4th, how you're celebrating. I want to hear from you as well. But before we jump into everything, I'm going to have a quick word from our sponsor.
Say that 11 Yanks has a new sponsor. OneFootball is an app that allows you to get all of your news, transfers, stats, and in-match updates from over 160 leagues in over 60 countries. I've been using this app for the last few weeks, and here's what I love about it. I can select the teams that I love, in this case the USMNT, and with one click, I'll have access to all the news about the teams, statistics from past games, lineups, information about future games, as well as who is part of the roster. I can also do the same thing for specific players, select the ones that I want to follow, and I'll be able to track that player's data, performance, and stats throughout the season for both club and country. So check out the app, guys, OneFootball. Click the link in the description below to download the app directly and start getting all the information you need about the players and teams that you love. Hey.
All right. So, enough said. Guys, who's ready? You guys look like you're having a ton of fun here, hanging out with friends. You know, someone says gumbo night, Texas style. I love gumbo. Have you had good gumbo? You must have had. Big cookout with steak, pork chops, burgers, beer, and 11 Yanks / tax. Sounds like the bomb, Jonathan Walker. Eat some glizzies. Isaiah Paskins, literally alone on 4th of July. You're not alone, man. You're with all of us. What else do we have here? We got Joshua Simmons. Is it really a new sponsor at this point? No, we're very thankful to OneFootball for sponsoring us. Ryan Smith, ribs on the grill, then watching fireworks tonight. Excellent. Ran a 5K and got second place in my age group and got a plaque, and now spending time with family. Barbecue with fam. Awesome, guys. Sounds like everyone's having a blast.
Pete, the donation there, I know where the reference is from. The super chat.
Wait, what?
There's a super chat.
There is?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Joshua Martinez. That's actually the One Soccer app, Pete.
Do you know where that's from?
From you, right?
Yeah, mine. I call them One Soccer.
Oh, you do? Oh, that's good to know. I'm sure they love that.
They didn't like it. But then again, there's ways around it. They'll be back in my channel now, finally.
Awesome. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into this. So we've done this before. Here's your FIFA World Cup qualifying schedule. And before we jump into this, we have, news today that the Canada game at home, our first home game on September 5th, will be played in Nashville, Tennessee. Filippo, what are your thoughts on that?
So at first I was a little against it because I was talking to you about it even real quickly. I was against because I thought it would be too far. There were locations closer, but I guess from what you said, it's not that far. It's an extra hour. It's definitely not. It wasn't my number one option, but I don't think it should be a problem. We should still be able to beat Canada in Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I probably would have preferred Miami, Orlando, or Houston, just because I think that's further for Canada to travel than Nashville. B, it's shorter flights for us because we go El Salvador up and then straight back down to Honduras, which is right next to El Salvador. Mm-hmm. So I would have preferred a little further south and more humidity, but it's not terrible. I think that's kind of the way I see it.
And it was 4-1 in Orlando last time. So
yeah, we did beat them in Orlando. I thought that would have been a good place for it. But we're not U.S. soccer. And I think some people felt, somebody, I think U.S. Keeper on Twitter suggested that it's a possibility because of a higher capacity stadium in Nashville that played a part where they could get more fans in. I don't know if you're going to be able to get 60,000 fans. Aren't they going to be playing at Nashville Stadium?
I think so. What's the capacity? 60?
Where's Jimmy Bird when you need him? Nissan Stadium, I think, is where it's going to be, right? And the capacity is huge. Let me check it up here. Stadium. It's 69,143. That's the capacity. So it's huge. It's massive. Is it turf? I hope it's not turf.
I don't know. I don't know if it's turf. Well, the main thing is 69,000 will be hard to fill.
It's going to be hard to get 69,000 people because the Canadians aren't going to travel much. There'll be a few, but not many. And then I guess we'll see how many people fill up that stadium, but that seems like a lot. I hope we fill it up. That'd be amazing if we could. But so that's kind of taken care of already, okay? So Canada's out of the way. The other two games are away. What's interesting is that they said that Nashville is also going to be the headquarters for that camp. So I have a feeling most of the players are going to fly in to Nashville from Europe. And then from Nashville, they're going to go down to El Salvador, back up to Nashville for the Canada game, and then back down to Honduras so that's like a lot of travel for those European guys. So I don't know how exactly that's going to work. I'd rather the European guys just fly straight to El Salvador, to be honest. Otherwise, that's a lot of flying. But yeah, it's not the end of the world. Randall Gavin, it's been a fun 4th with the family. It would have been a great time for U.S. national team game to prepare for the Gold Cup and still have time for fireworks with no other competition besides baseball. Just a thought. That is a great thought, Randall. And Filipo and I were talking about this today. Why have we not had any friendlies for the Gold Cup when Mexico managed to schedule 2? I don't know. What are your thoughts, Filipo?
Well, I think it's just a way to say we don't care about Gold Cup without saying it, right? Well, I mean, by we, I mean Bearhalt and the Federation. I care. You care. I think every single fan in the chat cares, but that's a way to them to say it, that they don't care, which is absolutely ridiculous, right? At the end of the day. But because it's what we said, we're bringing a C team, not even a B team, a C team.
Yeah.
Okay, we understand that. The explanation for that was somewhat reasonable. Some players shouldn't be there anyway, but it was reasonable. But the fact that you don't start camp at least 10 to 14 days ahead, do 2 friendlies, get prepared, that just proves you don't give a crap.
Yeah. And that's like, we talked about this. Monday is the day that they're all supposed to be coming into camp. Okay. So that means Monday there's no training, right? The first game is on Sunday, and you can't train the day before a game. You can't do intense training, at least. You can do set pieces. You can do some mild warm-ups, maybe low intensity work with the ball. But, 24 hours before a game, you shouldn't do high intensity training. So that means they're going to get in there Monday. They're really only going to have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to prepare. I'm sorry.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 days.
Yeah, they're going to have 4 days really to prepare. So I don't think that's very much time for a Gold Cup tournament with no friendlies, but we're trying to remain optimistic about this Gold Cup. Nobody else in the American soccer media has called out this lack of having friendlies before the game, but we just want to bring it up. We're not going to harp on it, but we think it's something to call out now rather than later. Okay. Yeah. What if MLS had annual 4th of July games like NFL and NBA do for Thanksgiving/Xmas? Could be very cool. I think MLS does have games today, don't they? They have 3 games. They have Dallas against Vancouver. They've got Seattle against Colorado, and then they have one more. I think it's LA Galaxy against somebody.
Yeah, and yesterday's games all had 4th of July vibes, right? The lights, the fireworks.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. Thank you for the super chats, by the way, everyone. Let's continue with the next. Okay, so our next home game is going to be against Jamaica on October the 7th. Now, remember, that is our opening game. Okay, so the guy's going to be coming from Europe. And remember, right after that, we're going back down to Central America to Panama. So again, I'm torn because part of me thinks should we make Jamaica fly all the way up to us? But then we still have to fly down to Panama and then come back up. So I think I'm going to say Southeast or Texas somewhere as well.
So what I would do for this one, is it okay if I skip ahead and say both of the games in October, my whole plan?
Mm-hmm.
What I would do so let's say we play Panama. I don't know where we would play in Panama. Would it be in Panama City, wherever it is? I don't know.
Probably.
So what I think I would do is I would play Jamaica and Orlando, which is not that far of a flight. We go to Panama. We play in Panama. We come back and we play at Hard Rock against Costa Rica. Those were the two that I would do for it. So this camp, I would stay in Florida. This would be the only camp I would fully stay in Florida.
Yeah. I would maybe do Orlando against Jamaica. Okay. And then it's not that far to fly. And then come back and probably do Miami. Just so you get a different city in there, Yeah,
that's what I would do. Stay in Florida, but get an Exploria Stadium and then go to Hard Rock Stadium. And there you go. For
Hard Rock is in Miami. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, it's the Miami Stadium.
My only concern is, aren't there a lot of Costa Ricans in Miami?
I don't know. Because when I go to Miami, I see a lot of people from Colombia.
Yeah.
Cuba,
Cuba, Brazil.
Orlando, you see a lot of Brazil, Venezuela. So I don't see many Costa Rica. I don't think they'll be able to outnumber us. That's the thing. I don't think it'll be anywhere near that.
And Florida's huge. You should have no problem getting American fans in Florida. Even if they're from Orlando. What is it, 3 hours to Miami?
It's 3 hours driving. They
can drive down to Miami.
It's too much.
So I think we're both of similar mind that this game should stay in Florida, this camp here. So October 7th against Jamaica, we stay in Orlando, and then we have Miami at home. Okay. And then the next one we've talked about before. This is November 2nd. This is just a 2-game camp. We have Mexico at home and then Jamaica away. I think we talked about this on the last stream, but where would you want to put this game?
So I changed my mind from last stream. I thought about it more. So we're going to travel to Jamaica. And I was talking about putting in New York or something. That's too far. Yeah. I would actually put us in Atlanta. I would play in Atlanta, the Mercedes Stadium. That's where I put. And we can pack that stadium. And I know. The odds of being Mexican full in Atlanta there is huge. And but then again, we can't. The O3 fans travel; they'll fill up anywhere. So.
See, I'm going to push back here because I disagree. There are places where they don't fill up. They never filled up Columbus, and I don't think they would fill up Minneapolis or St. Paul, rather.
That's too far from Jamaica.
Yeah, but I guess we have to travel to Jamaica.
Yeah.
I'm so torn, man. I'm still going to stick to Columbus. I don't think it's the end of the world to go in just a 2-game window. You can go to Columbus and then go down to Jamaica afterwards. I don't think it's the end of the world. I think we should stick. Columbus has a new stadium. I think we should stay there. That's where I would put it.
My only worry, Pete, here is this. We play Mexico November 12th, so the game will be at night. So they would travel to Jamaica on the 17th. That's a dead day because it's going to be a long flight.
Yeah.
The next day, you also have to adjust a little bit. You just arrived. So pretty much we would face Jamaica, and we will have one practice. Not even one practice. We would have no practices in between. It's a tough.
We would have one intense day of training. So 13th would be a recovery day.
Yeah.
14th would, recovery plus travel. 14th would be, high intensity, probably, training. And then 15th would be tactics and set pieces, probably, because you can do tactical stuff, sort of shadow play, if you guys know what that means, where you train tactics without doing it at a high intensity. So you don't, exhaust yourselves. And then, day of the game, you don't do anything except maybe a short, jog in the morning just to keep your legs moving. I still think we got to put it in somewhere cold in November, make it difficult for Mexico. I'm going to stick to Columbus because I lived in the Midwest. I know how awful it is. By the way, Chris Johnson here says, play in LA so Becky G can attend. Did you see Becky G at the Mexico
jersey?
Night? Dude, what is up with Sebastian, man? I know she's Mexican. Okay. I get it. But also, dude, your husband plays for the U.S. men's national.
No, but she's American.
She's American of Mexican heritage, of course. And your husband plays for the U.S. men's national team. That's treachery, utter treachery from Becky G.
So this camp is actually also, despite having 2 games, this is our toughest camp because Mexico is always tough, and Jamaica away, especially with the dual nationals they're bringing, this is not going to be not going to be an easy game. This camp is tough, and we got to be careful not to leave this camp with 1 point or 0 points, like a loss.
Oh no, we cannot lose to Mexico at home. That's unacceptable.
So next there, Pete.
So we've done that. Okay. Then we have home against El Salvador in the heart of winter. This is another 3-game camp, but we're home for 2 of these games and we go up to Canada. So this is a perfect time for us to play in the Northeast because we're probably going to play in Toronto. That's my guess, in Canada. So let's play somewhere in the Northeast. Where would you put it?
So what I put here, the order doesn't matter to me. The reason I picked the second stadium is because I think it's a tougher game. Maybe we need more of a bigger crowd and everything.
Yeah.
I think El Salvador, we could play in the Red Bull Arena in New York around there. I wouldn't put on MetLife.
Yeah. I would go New York as well, whether it's else, I wouldn't just not Yankee Stadium, please.
No. That's not a soccer stadium. So I would go Red Bull Arena maybe. That's what I would do. And then Honduras, I would bring to the Gillette Stadium, the New England Revolution Stadium.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Honduras is a tougher opponent too, so that's what I would do.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's play this one in the Northeast. You get 1 in Boston and 1 in New York. So, and the Northeast is a small enough place that people can travel. Like if you live in Philly, you can travel. You know what I mean, to New York. You can travel to Boston. Everything's very close, and there won't be much travel time. Now, the question is, what if Canada puts that game in Vancouver? Then would it make sense to play those 2 games in Washington and Oregon?
Yes.
Because here's the other thing. For El Salvador guys and Honduras to travel all the way, like traveling to the Northeast is far. You're talking 6 or 7 hours from where they are. But to travel across the country to the Northwest, boom, that would be really tough for them. They're talking about, I think, an 8-hour flight at least for both of them. So I think that, but we don't, the problem is we don't know where Canada is going to schedule that game. What we should do is find out where Canada's putting that game. And if they put it in Vancouver, then we put it at the Seattle CenturyLink and then the Portland Timber Stadium. What's it called?
I don't know. I don't know.
Come on, guys. I should know this. What's Portland? Guys, come on. Where's my Portland fans at? Where's Zach? Oh, but Seattle is turf. That's a good point. Oh, man, I forgot about that. You can't play on turf.
Oh, yeah, they play on turf.
Can't play on turf. Let me see. Well, maybe we should play 1 in Portland and then maybe 1 in... Oof, that's true. I didn't think about that. Why does Seattle have to play on turf? Come on, guys. Be better than that.
They're saying Denver, but Denver's kind of far.
I mean, I don't mind Denver in the winter. It's a little far, but it's not the end of the world. I don't mind Denver in the winter. I think that'll be tough for Honduras,
Do we have to announce at the same time as Canada?
No, I don't think we have to announce anything because for example, I think it will trickle in. Like today we decided Nashville. I think the games are going to come trickling in. Michael Garrison says, remember, the COVID situation may make travel to certain countries impossible. We could hypothetically have some of these teams in our backyard. I mean, to a degree, I understand what you're saying, Mike, but on the other hand, we have the vaccine now. There should be no travel restrictions, at least to Canada, for sure. I mean, that's a huge thing. I don't know what Central America and the Caribbean is going to look like, but by January,
but they're already playing. Oh, no, they're playing here. They played in Fort Lauderdale.
I don't think it's going to be a problem, guys. Honestly, come 2022, everybody should be vaccinated, or at least anybody who wants to be vaccinated should be vaccinated. I don't think it's going to be an issue, honestly. I guess I would wait until Canada schedules that game. That's what I would do. Because if they put it in Montreal or Toronto, we put it in the Northeast, okay? And then if they put it in Vancouver, we put it in the Northwest. It's not complicated. The exact stadiums we could figure out: Portland, Seattle. There's got to be somewhere else in the Northwest we can play it, even if it's not in Seattle itself, Well,
we could play. What are North California teams?
I mean, there's San Jose, but that's not really tough for the idea is that you want it in cold weather. You know what I mean? So I don't really want taking Honduras to San Jose.
If we go to Ohio, how far is Ohio?
Ohio's the Midwest, dude. You're talking about another 4 or 5 hour flight over there. Maybe Minneapolis. How about that? Now that's a bit closer. Minneapolis is more the center of the country. So let's say we can't play in Seattle. Maybe we play the first game in Minneapolis, go to Vancouver, and then go down to Oregon for the second game against Honduras. And those Portland fans are crazy.
Pete, I don't know if you missed it, but S27 put a super chat.
Ooh.
Before. I can read it, S27.
Yeah, go ahead. Put that up.
He said, play Mexico in Buffalo, New York.
I
live in Buffalo.
So originally that's what you said, Filippo, right? You wanted to do Buffalo, New York?
I said MetLife, actually, at first.
You said MetLife, yeah.
Yeah, MetLife is more New Jersey. So I actually went to school at Buffalo, and the weather there is brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
It is brutal. I understand the cold weather aspect of it, but guys, there's so many Mexicans in New York. They're going to fill up that stadium, A. And B, we still have to think about traveling from New York to Jamaica. That's a long flight, 3 days later, 4 days later. So I would still rather put it probably I'd rather put it in Columbus because less Mexican fans. So I'm going to stick to that. Mike Irish says, thanks, guys. Nice way to end a great soccer weekend. Happy 4th. Happy 4th to you, Mike. And thanks, everyone, for the super chats. Okay, so I think we're fine. We're going to wait to see where they play the Canada game before we schedule those two games. And now we have Mexico away in the final group stage game. And then we're home against Panama. So, Mexico away and Costa Rica away here.
Just before you go to that, Pete, there is one thing that they said here in the chat that's true. If Canada chooses Toronto, Buffalo is like 2 hours by car to Toronto. So Buffalo could be a possibility there. You won't even travel at that point.
We don't even need to travel. You could take a bus. You know what I mean? So Michael Garrison also says NFL stadiums may be unavailable from September to Jan. That is true. They may be. Somebody else commented in the chat, Buffalo doesn't have a soccer stadium. Our football stadium is turf.
They're Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, but, if you're going to play anybody, you want a big crowd there. Is it big enough?
Stadium. It's a big stadium.
Yeah, but that's NFL, right? That's an NFL stadium, isn't it?
It is. But I'm pretty sure you could fill it there.
We'll see. Yeah. I mean, they don't have games every day in the NFL. So, maybe teams as they travel, if they're away, you can use their stadium. It's hard for us to know. But this is what we would like to see in an ideal world. Our last one is Panama away. Panama at home. March 27th, we've got Mexico and Costa Rica away. So we're going back to Central America, back to Mexico. I'm not sure where I would put this.
I'll tell you. And
I might be inclined to put this one in Los Angeles.
Q2 Stadium, Austin.
Or Austin. I'd be fine with Austin as well. Yeah. I can see that. I mean, it's Panama. So wherever you are, I think you're going to get Panamanians. There's more Panamanians, though, on the East Coast than there are on the West Coast. So I'd probably rather, I don't know about Texas. Anybody in Texas can let us know. I'd probably rather put this one in LA. I think go to Rose Bowl or go to Bank of California Stadium and play there. And then it's an easy hop, skip, and a jump to Mexico and Costa Rica. But I would be fine also with Mexico.
Imagine us playing in Austin and Matthew McConaughey shows up to hype up the crowd. Do you think we would lose? No way.
No way. He'd come with his drum. Hi, guys. All right. I'm going to make us win up in here.
You score goals.
Going to score goals. We're going to be charming. I'm going to wear my green suit. It's going to be a hell of a time. All right. So those are our thoughts, guys, on where we should play. Now, in my video with Paul Tenorio, where we talked about SUM and, the breakup between SUM and USSF, he talked about, and I think he had a point, he talked about the conflict between marketing and the business side of the game and the sporting side of the game. And I'm sure that there is somebody, in U.S. soccer who's going to want some of these games played in certain areas for marketing or sporting reasons to sell tickets. I personally think we should focus on the sporting merit of these games. But there's a possibility when they start announcing these, you're going to go, I don't think that's the best place, but you're going to go, I think I know why they put it there. Al Hollywood, we shouldn't play lesser teams outdoors in cold weather on the winter. If there's snow, that hurts our speed advantage. I don't know if it really hurts our speed advantage, Al. Do you think it does, Filippo?
But here's the thing too. I think our advantage is more on the technical side than athletic ability. There's some teams in CONCACAF that might even outspeed us, right? be more athletic than us. But we are probably, with Mexico, the two most technical teams. We are the most technicals with Mexico. So I don't know. I don't think speed is our main advantage at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I think technique. I mean, Sebastian Lletget is one of the quickest players on earth, so that is true.
Jackson Ewell, he barely moves.
Jackson Ewell. Oh man, we'll get into the Gold Cup in a little bit. But so Al, I don't think it's snow is a big issue. I think snow is going to hurt our opponents more than it hurts us. You know, you have to remember most of our guys play in Europe and they play right through the winter, so they're going to be used to snow. They're going to used to bad weather. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Joshua Martinez, we score goals now. #Verde.
Mm-hmm. They scored 4 at home. The first 4 goals they scored.
Who did?
Austin. They hadn't scored a goal at home.
Okay.
Well, actually, because there weren't that many games on Q2 yet. There were 2 or 3 games. And then they scored 4 goals against, who did they play last week? I watched the game. It was 4-1 against Portland.
Yeah. Columbus sort of is our national stadium, in my opinion. I agree with you, Todd. I think especially against Mexico, we've had so much success there that I think, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. I think it makes sense to keep it there. All right. This is a very good point. This is what I was trying to say. Almost no ticket money in 2020 because of COVID. Don't be surprised if they prioritize ticket sales and capacity. I actually agree with this. That would not surprise me at all. You could already tell with the Nashville game that they prioritized a larger stadium with the capacity for ticket sales rather than, being close to El Salvador and Honduras and making the Canadians play in the Southeast, right?
I agree.
So I think you're right. And I think we will see a lot of games played in not ideal stadiums. That being said, guys, we are America and we can't make excuses about venues, right? We have to be able to say it doesn't matter where we are. You put us in Guadalajara, we'll find a way to win. You put us, in New York, we'll find a way to win. I think that's the mentality that we have to go into this too, because if you're going to be a regional power, you can't, regional powers don't whine about, the venue is not ideal. That's excuse. Honestly, to me, that's weak. That's weak sauce. We have more talent than most. In fact, I'd say we have more talent than all the teams that we're going to play in World Cup qualifying. So complaining about venues is a little bit of a weak excuse, in my opinion.
All we're doing here is just speculating and trying to have fun with it. It's not really, if they put a random game somewhere that we don't agree with, we're not going to start saying, oh my God, they screwed up. It's okay. It's not the end of the world.
And I think our talent and our tactics should speak for themselves, and our spirit and our mentality. That's going to be huge in World Cup qualifying. So much of it is going to be scrappiness and being able to scrap out games and out scrap the other team. Jordan Alford, who do you guys support at club level? Well, I think it's pretty obvious for Filippo.
Well, actually, let me actually clarify this. So Orlando City, I cheer for them. But I don't get overly emotional when they win or lose. I cheer for Orlando City. I live in Orlando. I started watching when Kaká was here. Before that, I would go to New York Red Bull games. Before that, when I was in New York, I went to the Red Bull Arena. So my caring for Orlando City is more of I became a fan. Now, when it comes to really being passionate about it, it's the Brazilian national team, the U.S. men's national team, and Palmeiras, a Brazilian. Yeah. That one I truly care. If Orlando City plays Palmeiras better beat them 5-0. I don't give a crap about Orlando. So I'm a Palmeiras fan, to be honest.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit the same, guys. The only team that I truly care about, the only team that gets my heart rate going is the U.S. men's national team. Every other team, when I was in Chicago, I supported the Fire. Now that I'm here in L.A., I literally take turns between the Galaxy and LAFC, mostly LAFC. There's too many Mexicans on the Galaxy now for me to support. Chicharito, Jonathan Dos Santos, Efra Alvarez has now been added to the list. Julian Araujo, possibly, if he chooses them. I'm just no thanks. I can't support that. I do like LAFC. I like what they're trying to do. I like the way they play, and they're downtown. Actually, LA Galaxy don't play in LA. They play in Orange County in Carson. But yeah, I don't really have a team that I love like a club. I used to be a big Manchester United fan when Sir Alex Ferguson was there, and I just loved the mentality of that team. Whoever was playing, whatever the talent, didn't matter. They always found a way to win, and I love that.
Did you ever see my interview with Alan Smith from Manchester United?
I have not actually watched
He
it. No.
says exactly what you just said. He said he played for Leeds United, and then
Yeah.
they went bankrupt, remember? And he went to Manchester United, and he played for the
Yeah.
English national team. And in the interview there at the channel, he says Leeds was very good. They made it to the semifinal of the Champions League. But when he got to Manchester United, he understood what it meant to win. He's like, this is what it is. Sir
Yeah.
Alex, who else was there? Roy Keane, Rio Ferdinand, Ryan Giggs. He's like, okay, it's not just about how good you are. And I think he said that probably played a role on Cristiano Ronaldo that got there so young.
And if you look at Sir Alex Ferguson, every time a team like dropped their level a little bit, a player dropped their level, he got rid of them. It didn't matter who they were. Jaap Stam, he sensed that Jaap Stam wasn't, 100% there, got rid of him. David Beckham, gone. Ruud van Nistelrooy, gone. That was Sir Alex Ferguson. He showed up and he said, you give me 100% in every training session and in every game, and if you don't, you're not part of my project. Now, Alex Ferguson was not the most tactical coach in the world, but he set standards so high that he made that club successful for as long as they were. And then once he left, look at the disaster that Manchester United has been ever since then.
So why don't we ask people in the chat here too? What is their club, like the one club that gets them going?
Yeah.
Like,
do you have a club? Do you have a club, guys, that really gets you emotional?
I'm trying to see. So I saw a lot of, obviously Manchester United will have a lot of fans because it's just a global brand. Barcelona too, because of the legendary players. Honestly, to me, club-wise, besides Palmeiras, because in Brazil, your club is your religion. I have a Palmeiras tattoo, so it's just.
Oh wow, you do, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of looking forward to watching RB Leipzig this year. American coach, at least one American player. By December, it will be 2 American players, possibly 3 if, Matthew Hoppe or Brendan Aronson or Josh Sargent ends up there. I like Dortmund just because, Gio Reyna and Christian Pulisic, they helped to develop 2 of our best players. But as far as being emotional about a club, I don't have that, guys. My loyalty is to the U.S. If you play American national team players, I will support you. In the Premier League, I want Chelsea to win. Like, that's just where I'm at, But I don't have a club team that I'm just like super excited about. While we're talking about Americans in Europe and clubs and stuff, let's do address some transfer rumors. So Tanner Tessman might be moving to, and I might be getting this wrong, Vicenza. Is that how you pronounce it?
Wasn't it Venezia?
Venezia? It's basically Venice in Italy, right? That's the club.
Venezia.
So my Italian is not great. I apologize to all the Italians in the club. And then, Gianluca Busio, rumors about where he'll end up. Very likely in Italy, it seems, but we don't know for sure. Tactical manager addressed Ethan Horvath, very likely will be in the championship at one place or another. Are there any other transfer rumors that are being addressed right now? Right? We have, okay, guys, some of you are freaking out in the chat. When I said there's too many Mexicans in LA Galaxy, what I mean was there's too many Mexican national team players on the field. Don't try to make this something our rival team, okay? You guys try to make this something that it's not. I can't support a team that has Chicharito and Dos Santos and Efra Alvarez on it. They're Mexican national team players, okay? Nothing to do with Mexicans. Some of my best friends in the world are Mexicans. Don't even start, okay? But yeah, look, it's, any transfer rumors, I'm trying to think. There's Tanner Tessman, Bello. We still don't know what's going to happen with DK and Hoppe.
But then again, we also don't know how many of them are true or not. Sometimes agents will leak something to a media source to get a rumor going and bring up the price and maybe try to renegotiate a contract. We don't know what's true. What I can tell you guys, for example, about Daryl DK, I saw a Twitter page. I think it's a big Twitter page, MLS Buzz or whatever, saying that DK will definitely leave this summer. That is also not true. We don't know that. And honestly, I think Daryl DK will finish the season with Orlando City, and then we could see him leave in January. So we could see pretty much no one leave this summer.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Yeah. That'll be interesting to see, who actually gets moved out, and who actually gets moved. We don't know. Anthony Robinson could start in the championship again this year. We just don't know yet, right? We could see, Sargent playing in the second Bundesliga with Werder Bremen if nobody else, takes him. Matthew Hoppe could stay with Schalke. Daryl Dike could be in Orlando. We hope they leave, but right now, there's a lot of uncertainty in Europe. Teams don't have as much money as they used to, so we may not see as many transfers as we would like.
Yedlin to MLS. I saw that today.
Oh, really? Where do you think he goes? Seattle? Back to Seattle?
I don't know. He would probably be a DP.
Oh, wow.
Don't you think he'd be a DP?
I would think so. I'm just trying to think where I don't think Seattle would let him go anymore.
Orlando needs a right back.
Yeah, but they have Halliday. They have Michael Halliday, right? Why would they?
I don't know. I haven't liked him.
But he's 18. Like, let him improve,
But I think Orlando too. The thing is, Orlando has a chance of winning MLS Cup, and I don't know for how long, because DK could leave later on. If you have the team that you have right now in Orlando, you add DeAndre Yedlin to the right back, we have Galezi back, Seba Mendes coming back from the Copa America. It could be a shot for Orlando because they might lose some of these players, right? Nani's getting old. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I watched them against New York yesterday. I wasn't particularly impressed, but
a lot better than New York, though. Well, we were missing players too, right?
Who are you missing?
Seba Mendes, the midfielder, as well. Antonio Carlos got injured. Nani wasn't having a good game. That didn't help. We're missing Juan, the right back. So Halliday, I didn't think he had a good game.
He wasn't great, but he's only 18.
Moutinho didn't play. Moutinho, our left back.
Joao Moutinho. Yeah, maybe, man. I mean, the thing about MLS is a lot of it is about getting hot at the right time. A lot of teams that start hot at the beginning, they don't last. And also, you can be hot throughout the entire regular season, but being in form in playoffs matters. So we'll see. Todd Cuddington says, I think there's a generational thing. In my early years, there was no team to root for, no exposure. USMNT was the only thing. Yeah, I think that's changing now, right? You can watch all the soccer you want. Honestly, guys, the US is one of the best places in the world for watching soccer and on TV. Like, you can literally get so many leagues in the US. I was in England, and you'd think a soccer crazy country. All you could get was the Premier League and the Champions League on TV. It was very hard to get any other European leagues, to get South America, anything. It'd be very tough.
In Brazil, you get a lot, though. In Brazil, I was able to. Brazil has MLS there, surprisingly. MLS is there. Premier League, Bundesliga, you watch a lot. Brazilian League, obviously. I remember the Argentinian League was there. Brazil has a lot.
You know what it is? It's countries whose players go and play in other countries. You can watch more, right? Mm-hmm. In England, they don't care. Like, look at Jadon Sancho, probably one of England's better players, but because he plays in Germany, they're like not even playing him in the Euros. It's crazy to me. I think he's a best player.
But Pete, he had the transfer for Manchester United, and after that, he started.
Maybe that.
Yeah, that happened.
I know. That's crazy to me. Because I think he's a better winger than not Bakary.
Saka.
Who?
Saka or Sterling?
Saka, yeah. Saka, I think he's better than both of Saka and Sterling, But yeah, Todd, I think you're right. I remember people telling me about days where, there was nothing to watch. The MLS had just started, and you didn't have a lot of games and no one really took it seriously. And now there's so much you can follow. You have your team at home. You have your team in Europe. You have your men's national team. You can watch teams in Brazil, play. It's great. It's really good. So any other questions, guys? We do have, should we talk briefly about Gold Cup, Filippo? Because I'm so torn about this Gold Cup in terms of the roster and in terms of how we are executing, Mm-hmm. I have tiers of players that I'm like definitely should not be there. And then I have another so that's Jackson Ewell and Jonathan Lewis. For me, those two guys have no business being there. There are clear options that could be there instead of them. So you could take Tanner Tessman or Leon Flack, for example, instead of Jackson Ewell. I think you should even take Caden Clark over Jackson Ewell. Even though I know he's not fit now, he will be by like the third game, for sure.
Yeah. Well, in Jonathan Lewis, you can just not take anyone. It's just
you have Chris Mueller and you have Cade Cowell. And look, you and I have talked about Cade Cowell, right? We don't think he's an elite player right now. We still think he has work to do technically, but he's a better player than Jonathan Lewis. And also, he's a dual national. Mexico could easily come sniffing around.
More promising too. More promising.
Yeah, more promising. Has a higher ceiling. What's his? There's Chris Mueller. There's him. Even Georgi Mihailovic at this point would probably be better than Jonathan Lewis. Although I don't think Georgie should be there.
No, okay? Look, Jonathan Lewis, you're better off bringing Matthew McConaughey just to play the drums for the crowd rather than having Jonathan Lewis at the bench. Just the fact that he's at the bench, like the guy's 24. He went to the Olympic qualifying. He was one of our worst players there.
Yeah.
And what is the point of that? Like if he's 18, I would have forgiven him and just said, well, he'll improve. He's 18. He's 24, guys. He's closer to his prime than to being a prospect.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand that. And Berhalter is going to live or die by these guys that are his guys, right? He believes in them. He thinks he's got it. Okay, fine. Like I'm willing to be like, okay, Bert, well then prove us wrong, right? If Jonathan Lewis starts that opening game against Haiti or Bermuda, whoever it's going to be, I'll be, hoping he has a good game because I want the U.S. to do well. But I'm torn constantly between, as a fan, I'm always like, go USA. As an analyst, I'm like, this roster lacks creativity in midfield and it lacks width. It lacks proper width. So yeah, Mueller for Lewis, even Tyler Boyd, who by the way is not in in Galatasaray's preseason roster. How about a transfer? I'm sorry, Besiktas's roster. If he does well at the Gold Cup, maybe he could get a transfer. He's better than Jonathan Lewis. So is Chris Mueller. So is Cade Cowell. I'd rather have Kevin Paredes than Jonathan Lewis. I don't understand.
The funny thing is some fans came out to criticize. Well, if they're criticizing me on it, they're criticizing Pete on it as well. They came out to say, you probably don't watch the Rapids game. Jonathan Lewis, and look, why are you freaking out about it? He might not even play for the U.S. men's national team Gold Cup. But listen, guys, then hear me out. I can use the same argument. If he's not even going to play, why the hell are we bringing him?
Yeah.
Right. And look, I don't have to watch the Rapids. I don't really. I tell you guys, there's teams I don't really watch very much. Like people asked about DC United. I haven't watched them. I don't watch the Rapids. I don't. But I do know he's at the bench. Okay. And in soccer, there's no such thing as benching your best player. There's no such thing as I'm going to rest him and put in the six man like basketball. There's no such thing as that. If he's at the bench, that means the option ahead of him is better. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I don't know. Jordan Alford says, far from a Berhalter supporter, but it's possible that he's been told the results of Gold Cup don't affect his job security. Okay. Yes, I agree with you. They don't affect he could literally get knocked out in the first round of the Gold Cup and it wouldn't affect his job security. But that's not why you don't pick a roster so that you can keep your job. You pick your roster to win, to do as well as you can possibly do, right? So it shouldn't matter if it affects his job security. Berhalter should try to win this, or at the very least try to make a final, right? And you should always be giving yourself the best possible chance of winning. And for me, that means bringing your best players, right? At least the best players available to you, right?
Well, here's also my concern with all this. So let's compare it to Mexico right now, because we like to compare ourselves to Mexico. We want to be the top dogs of CONCACAF. So
yeah,
Mexico, let's compare. Which country's trying to grow soccer in their country? The U.S. Mexico doesn't need to grow it. It's overly popular there. Second thing, who missed out on the last World Cup?
We did.
Who missed out on the last Olympics?
That would be us.
So if we want to grow soccer in our country, we need to present results to people that are fans that like sports but don't really care about soccer too much. How do you get them in? It's like, look, guys, we have a winning nation. We're good. Watch us. We win. And then we win Nations League, and then we go on to Gold Cup. And I don't know, what if we get knocked out on group stage? We're going to be a joke on the media again. And all the casuals are going to make fun of us. And while we are losing in Gold Cup, which hopefully they win the gold medal, the women's national team will win a gold medal. Hopefully, I really hope they do. But the media will come on to troll the men's national team as always. They always do that.
Yeah, of course. And deservedly so, right? Now, listen, there are, circumstances. I agree with Greg Berhalter about letting the Nations League guys go home and have the summer off. I think that was a smart decision. I'm 100% in support of Greg Berhalter on that, because I think they've all had very long compressed seasons. I have no problem with that. All right. And to play devil's advocate here, there are guys that turn down call-ups that we could have seen. So Luca De La Torre, Julian Green. I thought maybe Berhalter could have fought for Green because Green wanted to come and Berhalter wanted him, his club said no. He's not a young player trying to break in for his club, and he isn't, getting a transfer. He's been at that club for a while now. So I thought he should have put his foot down with Green. But there are other guys, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Eric Palmer-Brown, Matt Miazga, who said no. So to a degree, some of these things are out of Berhalter's hands, and I will give him that. That being said, Jackson Ewell and Jonathan Lewis should not be on this roster, okay?
Well, in Mexico, look at what Mexico did with Edson Alvarez. So they called him up for the Olympics. Ajax blocked it because they're allowed to block it. So what do? We're calling him to
the Gold Cup.
Because you can't block him here.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, I think that Mexico is going overboard this summer. I mean, these guys played Nations League, okay, and after their Nations League game, they played Honduras, and then they got 4 days off. 4 days off, and now they're going to beat, and then they've had these 2 games, and now they have so Chucky Lozano, for example, is not getting a break this summer. And is that going to affect his form for Napoli in the coming season? Very possibly. And this may affect them in World Cup qualifying. I don't know. But you can tell the difference in Mexico in terms of the pressure and the accountability compared to the U.S. We don't play any friendlies. No one cares. No one calls it out in the American media. The Mexican media would be calling it out, right? We bring players who probably shouldn't be anywhere near the national team, and nobody really calls it out in the American soccer media. You know what I mean? So there you see the difference in accountability. You didn't win the Nations League in Mexico, so now you have to go win the Gold Cup. Right? I don't know what this means, Isaiah Paskins. Okay, Bert.
You said that.
Did I say okay, Bert? It sounds like something I would say, so I'll give it to you. Okay, Bert. No, it's true, right? Like, here's the thing, guys. I want the U.S. to go as far as possible and do as well as possible, and I will be waving my Berhalter flag and my Jonathan Lewis flag and my Jackson Ewell flag during the Gold Cup because I'm a USMNT stan. Both of us will be, and we'll be here for all the live streams. But as a fan, I can do that. As an analyst, I have to be objective. And objectively, this team lacks balance, which is Berhalter's new favorite word, right? Everybody brings balance.
Fluidity, too.
Okay. Let's address this issue before we go further. Excels. Can someone please tell Christian Pulisic to stop juggling a ball on the edge of a boat in the middle of the ocean? Why? Why not? Like, what? Let him juggle a ball. I don't understand. Someone explain the outrage to me. He's out having a good time. Guys, I was on a boat last weekend with my friends out in the Pacific, having a great time. It's the dream. He's a soccer player. He loves the ball. He's going to juggle the ball. I don't understand. What are people so outraged about? Someone explain to me, what is the outrage about? Is it because he's fishing? That's a normal pastime. Is it because he's juggling a ball while fishing? Is it because he almost fell in the ocean? I don't understand. Do you understand it, Filippo? Because I don't get it.
I just saw it and I'm just like, that just looks like a soccer player having some fun. That's all it looked like to me.
People are saying because it's an endangered fish.
I don't know. I can't comment.
It's a grouper fish. It was probably catch and release. I don't know, guys. I don't know.
Didn't they release it?
I don't know. I didn't see the whole video. Did the video show it released?
Someone said they released it. I don't know anything about fishing. I never went fishing in my life, so I don't know.
Guys, I mean, look, maybe it's an endangered. I've never gone fishing in my life either, honestly. But I don't have a problem with somebody going fishing so long as they follow the rules and release the fish if it's an endangered fish. I just don't get it. I think we need to relax on the outrage a little bit. I don't know if he did anything that bad, but maybe that's just me. Maybe someone will explain it to me in a way that I go, okay, that makes sense. But I don't really have issues with him juggling a ball on the edge of a boat in the middle of the ocean.
That's what Ronaldinho would do.
Like, the thing is that, even if he fell out of the boat, there's like 20 people in the boat. They could have just grabbed him and hauled him back inside. He wouldn't have drowned. I'm sure he can swim. Look, he's going to be fine.
It could be worse, Pete. Like, Pulisic was juggling the ball on the boat, while Brazil last year had Ronaldinho juggle a ball in prison in Paraguay. So it could be worse.
Yeah, I don't understand it, guys. I just don't get it. Maybe I'm ignorant. Maybe I don't understand all the issues, but I just don't understand. I don't understand what the outrage is about. Let's continue our Gold Cup. Now, there are guys in the Gold Cup that I'm not thrilled to see there, and I don't think should be in World Cup qualifying, but I understand that we didn't have a ton of other options, so I'm fine with them being there. For example, let's talk Kellen Acosta and Sebastian Lletget. Both Filippo and I have said many times how we feel about those guys. But in this Gold Cup, I don't have a problem with them being there because I don't know who else you could have brought. Is there anybody else that is better than Sebastian Lletget or Kellen Acosta who would have accepted a call-up who they could have brought Filippo?
Well, for Lletget, it would have to be Caden Clark, right? But we know
Right.
we can't blame Bearhalter at this point for that.
No, we can't blame him for that. Acosta, maybe Tanner Tessman.
Could Pomykal play Acosta's position? Not same role, but
Yeah, I mean, I would take Pomykal probably for Roldan. Now, listen, Seattle fans, I'm going to watch Colorado versus Seattle today, okay? Because we've seen Roldan for the U.S. many, many times, and his form for Seattle has not always translated into his form for the U.S. men's national team, okay? So, but people are saying he's better than ever this year. Have you seen Seattle play this year?
I've seen the first game when they played Minnesota. And yeah, both Roldans actually were playing very well. I watched 2 games.
But better than we've seen from them in the past?
It seems somewhat similar. Maybe the stats are better. He didn't score that much too. I honestly, guy, look about Roldan. I think he's the exact same. Same. Remember, players go through hot streaks. I don't buy it. It can prove me wrong, but I don't buy it.
Look, I'm going to watch the game, guys. Roldan is almost 27 years old. I don't think he's any better a player than he was 2 years ago, but I could be wrong. I hope he has a good Gold Cup, right? The more players that play well in the Gold Cup, the better chance we have of winning. But I have real doubts about and questions about whether Roldan is USMNT quality. Now, that being said, and I talked about this in my video, Filippo, who is the replacement? Paxton Pomykal would be an obvious replacement. For my money, I think Pomykal should be there, even though he's not, quote unquote, fully fit. But I don't think that's really the case. He's played every single game for Dallas since March. Okay, the idea that he's not fully fit is not true. I just think Lucci doesn't want to give him 90 minutes or start him.
Yeah,
so
it's tricky now, right? Because we don't know who, like the European-based players, who wasn't, like what's going on. For example, like Jackson Yo. If we could take him out, would you rather have Cardoso there? Maybe.
Yeah, but Cardoso turned down the call-up, Berhalter said.
He said that? I heard.
Yeah, I said that in the interview.
Yeah, I did talk to him prior to that, and I thought he would for a Gold Cup.
Right. So I don't know.
That too, right? That he was like in between, like club form, trying to stay.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are trying to cement their places with their clubs, and so I understand that. But for me, there's guys like Tanner Tessman, but then Tanner Tessman looks like he's getting this transfer, right? So maybe that's the reason he wasn't considered. It's so hard to know. But guys like Jackson Ewell and Jonathan Lewis, for me, are clear guys who shouldn't be there. Jackson Ewell has had more than enough chances to prove that he's USMNT quality, and he's just not. So Leon Flack could come for him.
Does it worry you? This is a question, and this could be also for the chat too, because I'm even making a video about dual nationals. Does it worry you that a lot of the dual nationals don't want to commit sometimes? Like we've seen a few right now that don't want to commit to the U.S. men's national team right now. And the amount of players rejecting a call-up, such as De La Torre. And, well, Julian Green didn't reject it, but at the same time, maybe Julian Green could have just went to Firth and said, look, I don't care what you do to me after, I'm going. You can't block it. So does that worry you? Because the reason I'm saying this is, it's something that it's unheard of in Brazil, for example.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as, oh, no, I don't want to commit to the Brazilian national team yet. Or, oh, no, I got to stay with my club because I don't want to play for Brazil. That's unheard of. But it seems quite common for the U.S. right now. It's a little worrisome, for me at least, because I haven't seen it.
It's hard to know what's going on behind the scenes. Okay, Luca De La Torre turning down that call-up really bothers me because I feel like he says his reason that he gave was, I'm going to, show good club form with Heracles and therefore going to get called in for World Cup qualifying. Dude, I don't think that's true. I mean, I think that you're going to have maybe 1 or 2 games before the World Cup qualifying roster. Are you really going to get called up because of that? I think that spending, a full month in a camp with 6 games with Greg Berhalter and showing well at the Gold Cup is much more likely to get you a call-up for World Cup qualifying than playing for your club. But maybe not. I mean, maybe he talked to Greg and Berhalter said, listen, you're not going to be a starter for me. I love Sebastian Lletget. You're going to be sitting on the bench most of the time. And so he was like, screw it. Now, remember, De La Torre also said in his interview, he said these words, Filippo, I watched the Nations League and I definitely deserve to be on this roster. What does that sound like to you when somebody says that?
Who said that? Legit?
No, De La Torre. He said, I watched the Nations League, and after watching it, I think I definitely deserve to be on this roster. What do you think he's saying there?
So he's saying that he saw some players that are crap. But the thing is, if I'm the coach and he says that, and then I call him for Gold Cup and he doesn't want to go, I'm not calling him for September.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to get called up for September.
So and I won't blame Berhalter.
No, I won't either, because I'm like, okay, you had a chance to come to Gold Cup and impress, and you didn't. So when Sebastian Lletget gets called up for the first World Cup qualifiers instead of you, can you really be that upset? I don't get it. You know what I mean? And by the way, I think he's right. He should have been in Nations League over, Acosta or Lletget or you, any of those three guys. But now that you have your chance in Gold Cup, you have to take it, right? Like, you can't just throw a fit because you didn't get called in. I don't know.
And the thing with De La Torre is he's in no position to be somewhat cocky, right? He's a player for Heracles, okay? He doesn't start for Real Madrid or Chelsea or Champions League team. He starts for an average Dutch league team. He needs to prove himself.
Yeah. And don't get me, he had a great March camp, right? But I don't think he's not Weston McKennie or Tyler Adams. So I thought Gold Cup, this could be your moment to shine, buddy. And you turned it down. And so if you don't get called in for World Cup qualifiers, I'll be upset in the sense that I want you there because I think you're a quality midfielder. And I think you're better than some of the guys that Berhalter loves. But at the same time, you turned down the opportunity to be in the Gold Cup. Julian Green sounded more like it was Berhalter's decision, not Green's. Because Green said he wanted to be there. And Berhalter decided to preserve that relationship with his club. For me, that's more on Berhalter. I thought he should have put his foot down and said, we don't have enough creative midfielders. Let's bring Green there. What about the guys who are looking for a transfer? Cameron Carter-Vickers, Eric Palmer-Brown, and Matt Miazga. What are your thoughts on that?
So that one's a little bit trickier, right? Because sometimes they're getting a transfer, so it's their job. And maybe the club closing the deal said, hey, I need you here that time.
Yeah.
So that one's a little trickier because it could be like it could be something the club that's signing them, so their new employer, demanded. It's a little bit different from a player that like Julian Green and De La Torre, they're already established in their club. I don't think they're going anywhere. So it didn't really buy out. It's a different situation.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I feel about it as well. The other issue is guys like Brian Reynolds. Berhalter told him you need to be in Roma when Mourinho gets there to prove yourself because he doesn't like young players anyway. Personally, I think Reynolds should have been in Gold Cup. I don't think Mourinho is going to use Brian Reynolds. That's my prediction. He's not going to play him anyways, so it would have been a good opportunity to give him some playing time, but that's Berhalter's issue. Conrad De La Fuente was another guy. He just moved to Marseille. He needs to start preseason strong. I understand it. I don't necessarily know if that's what I would do, but I understand why it's being done, if that makes sense. Who are some other options that maybe could have been on this roster? There isn't a ton when you look at them. We don't know if Otasowie is still injured. If Otasowie is available, I would have loved to have him in camp. But I don't know if he's still injured, so it's hard for me to comment on that too much.
And guys, you got to remember, we're not our depth chart, we're not as deep as two 23-man rosters that are very good. We're not that deep yet.
Yeah. Okay, Antonio Rodriguez. I'll be watching Gold Cup during my vacation in Mexico. Funnily enough, there isn't as many Mexico fans here as in the U.S. Are you sure? I feel like there's a lot of Mexico fans in Mexico, Antonio.
There should be a lot.
There should be. I feel like the whole country is soccer crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Football crazy. Football. Yeah, so look, guys, Gold Cup next Sunday is our opening game. I'm going to do a preview for the Gold Cup this Wednesday. Previewing it, we're going to talk about the U.S., how we should set up, how we should play. Can we talk about Matthew Hoppe? Because Schalke wanted Matthew Hoppe to show up for preseason. And Hoppe said, no, I'm going to go represent my country. And I love that. I love Matthew Hoppe just for doing that. Being like, screw you. It's probably his dream to play for his country. And so when he gets a chance to do it, he wants to take it. I really hope he has a good Gold Cup.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to be played out of position, and he still did it. He's still
He's not even going to be played as a striker. He's going to be played as. So I'm curious now, and I'll talk a little bit about this on Wednesday. But when Berhalter says he wants to play 3 strikers, I think he's going to play a 4-3-3, but it isn't going to be the same 4-3-3 where we see Gio Reyna and Pulisic coming into midfield. I think it's going to be Areola, either Areola or Giacchini, probably Areola. Areola and Hoppy pushed right up next to DK or Zardes and sort of playing as a pressing front 3 in a very narrow front 3, which will be interesting. I want to see if that can work. I don't know if it's going to, but I'm willing to at least give it a shot to see if it can work.
So they would probably put DK or Zardes not even as a target man, or they would be like a pressing forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Like, you never know, guys. Maybe this team just comes together and they find a way to do well. And I hope they do. And Filipo and I will be waving the flag for this team just like anybody else, you know? Dominic Pittman says, I know he's probably done with USMNT, but is there technically a better number 6 in MLS than Nagbe? See, I don't think Nagbe is a 6, guys. I think Nagbe is one. A lot of people are going to disagree. I think he's overrated. I don't see enough from Nagbe. I think he's good with the ball. He's very ball secure. But when you ask him to defend, I don't think he's that great as far as a 6, protecting the back line. What are your thoughts on Nagbe?
Well, on defense, he's just athletic, so sometimes it works well. But on the ball, yeah, he's fine. I mean, the thing is, when it comes to having Jackson Yield there as a 6, so if you call Nagbe over him,
it would have been way better than. But Nagbe has made it clear he doesn't want to represent his country anymore, and that's fine. I don't want you being. We shouldn't have to beg anybody, right? It's one thing to recruit, to say, hey, we like you. We'd love for you to be a part of our program. But at the end of the day, if you're not sold on playing for the USMNT, no thank you. We don't want guys who you have to convince them, to come play for the US for years and years. Like, honestly, with Julian Araujo, like, I understand where the kid is coming from too. Like, he's still trying to wait to see what his best options are. I'm not sure I want the guy playing for the national team if that's – like, if he doesn't really want to play for the U.S., if he's just a mercenary in the sense that, like, I mean, I don't know. Okay, let me. Yeah. I understand that in Mexico there aren't a lot of right back options, and he also turned down a call up to Mexico. Like, Tata called him in, and he said no because he's still trying to make up his mind, and he's a very young player, so maybe I shouldn't jump the gun. But honestly, after this, he should make up his mind. Timothy Chandler spent years making up his mind that he wanted to represent the U.S., and when he did, it was for the World Cup, right? And he was good in the World Cup in 2014. But after that, he didn't want to do the grind of playing in CONCACAF. He wasn't interested. So I don't know. I feel like you should really want to play for the U.S. if you're going to represent us. What are your thoughts on that, Filippo?
Yeah, I understand Julian too. He also comes out of the frustration of the Olympic qualifying where he didn't play very much because of Jason Christ tax.
Yeah.
So I understand him waiting. And like you said, he also rejected El Tri. So he's really just undecided. So the thing is, certain players want to play for their country just because they want to play for the country. Certain players want to play for the national team because they want to play for whatever will make them have a better career, right? So they see it almost as an extension of their club career. Can't blame them. Some player like, for example, to me, Giovanni Reyna. To me, he just wants to play for the U.S. because he could have played for Argentina, for example.
Or England. England would never have played him, let's be honest.
No, but like, for example, Argentina, I was talking to that Argentinian guy at my channel, Fede, when he came, and he said, man, we would have loved to have Reyna.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And he's the type of player Argentinians like, that technical 10. They would have loved him. But you never saw Reyna even mention any other nation. That never happened. He just wanted the United States. So I think it just comes down to each player's preference. Some guys just want to play for their country, some don't. So, and Julian Araujo, for example, one that we're talking about, he's looking at career-wise. There's other players, I don't want to mention some names here, that also are looking more towards whatever's better for their career.
Yeah.
Others are not.
Yeah. Yeah. So interesting thoughts from J Love T here. I think Luka turned it down because of the lack of quality he is playing with. Look at how Johnny struggled with no help. And I think Hoppy is being set up for failure also because no quality around him. Maybe, but still, you don't do yourself any favors when you refused a call-up for your country, right? Mm-hmm. You just don't. I mean, even with Julian Araujo, what if Shaquille Moore comes in and has a really good Gold Cup? Now the amount of right backs ahead of him, you've got Shaquille Moore, Reggie Cannon, DeAndre Yedlin, and Serginho Dest, not to mention Brian Reynolds. So when you don't accept that call up, you are leaving the door open for the possibility that, other guys will get a chance and shine, and now you get pushed further down the depth chart. And that's what Luca De La Torre is doing. What if Eric Williamson and Gianluca Busio have great tournaments playing as dual eights? Does that push Luca De La Torre further down the depth chart? Probably. So it's risky, right?
And again, it's not, also guys, remember, this is not a video game, right? Berhalter is not going to go before the World Cup, look at the level of the players and pick. Yeah. He will have favorites, guys that were with him from the beginning and grinding it out. And some of these guys will earn their spots. Even if there's a better player, he's like, this is my guy, I'm keeping him. So you have to be there. You have to earn your spot. It's not a video game that he just looks at the levels like, oh, this guy's better right here, let's bring him in.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're 100% right. And, guys, we're gonna see how this goes. But Berhalter has, over the course of his national team career as a coach, has always prioritized familiarity, right? Guys who he's had in camp. Remember that first January camp, he got all those guys in with him. He couldn't have the Europeans. And then those guys literally played for him for the rest of 2019. So I think that, like De La Torre said, Berhalter selects guys who are playing well for their clubs. I think he selects guys that he's seen in camp before. Like to me, that seems more like a realistic assessment.
Jackson Yo has been awful with San Jose this week.
Yeah.
And he's there.
Jonathan Lewis doesn't even play for Colorado as a starter, and he gets called up. He was in that January camp too with Greg Berhalter. So honestly, I think familiarity matters with Berhalter. And if I'm Luca De La Torre, I'm thinking familiarity in the Gold Cup is a good thing for my national team career. But we will see. Maybe all the midfielders perform so poorly that Berhalter rethinks it for World Cup qualifying. We will see.
And just to add to what you were saying, look at other options too. He brought in Paul Riola. That is, apparently he's playing well for DC, but he's just returning from a very bad injury and a bad moment in Swansea. And he brings in Paul Riola, and then a guy like Chris Miller that's playing well in Orlando. He's playing well on the club level. Didn't get called up.
Yeah, but I understand the Paul Riola call up because there's not many wingers. You know
no,
what I mean?
I'm just giving you an example that the club thing doesn't really matter if they're playing more or they're what. He has his players, and obviously if you're tearing it up at a Champions League team, he'll call you up, even if he never did.
Yeah.
But that's not the case for De La Torre.
No. So we'll see, guys. We'll see how this goes. Next Sunday, we'll be here for the either Haiti or Bermuda game. Do you have any games or videos that you want to plug this week?
I was going to ask you one thing. You're going to do a USMNT Gold Cup preview?
Well, it's partially USMNT, but it's partially also who are our opponents. So Haiti.
So it's USMNT focused.
Yeah, it's based on, and then we'll also look at some of the other teams that could be in contention to win it. So briefly, I'll just look at Mexico, Honduras, Jamaica, Canada, and Qatar.
Okay, I'm going to do something, but it's different. I was going to do a Gold Cup preview. I'm going to talk about all the groups. So the amount of time I'm going to spend on the U.S. is the same amount of time I'm going to spend in Mexico, Jamaica, Costa Rica. I'm going to skim through, so everyone gets a little bit familiar with every team. So, yeah, guys, it'll be different videos.
Yeah. Jakilma. Who do you see as our left backs in Qatar? Ooh, good question, man. I don't know who's going to develop in the next 18 months, right? There's a lot of guys who are in contention for that spot. I think Anthony Robinson will be there, barring a disaster from him. There probably will be one more left back. If no left backs develop, it'll probably be Serginho Dest and two other right backs. Like, I imagine he'll use Serginho as the backup left back for Anthony or something like that. That being said, there are guys who the next 18 months is crucial for them. Jonathan Gomez, Kevin Paredes, George Bello. I don't think Sam Vines is going to be there. I just don't think he has the quality, but maybe. I'll put him in the group, Sam Vines, and then Kobe Hernandez-Foster, even John Tolkien from New York Red Bulls. So there's 5 or 6 up-and-coming left backs, but one of them has to show up and be like, this is my spot, I can do it. So it's sort of a wait-and-see game, Jakilma. Edwin Garcia Mendez. Why didn't Chris Richards get called up? He's got a super high ceiling and would love to see him play against CONCACAF teams, and Berhalter pisses me off. I hear you, man. Chris Richards has a new coach at Bayern, and he's going to start preseason with Bayern Munich, and his situation is a little bit uncertain. They don't know if they're going to sell him to Hoffenheim or loan him out again or keep him there. From what I've heard, Julian Nagelsmann wants to keep him for preseason before making a decision about him. So my guess is the reason he's not called up is because Berhalter said, we're going to let him focus on his club. Okay. Yeah. Whether you agree with it or disagree with it, that's the reason.
Yeah, it might have been even a request from Chris Richards, like Bayern wants to see me in the preseason to see if I stay or go on a loan. So he has to be there. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Last one, Heracles starts with PSV. That's DLT's chance. Yeah, he has to, now that he's not in Gold Cup, he has to really, he can't just have a good season in Holland. I think he has to have a amazing season in Holland in order for Berhalter to go, okay, I still think he offers us something, you know?
He won't go in September. Let's be honest. I don't think he'll go in September.
I think maybe October, November, depending on, a lot depends too on how the midfielders in this camp perform, right? We'll see how they perform. So guys, this has been fun. I got to get going. Filippo, I'm sure you got to get going too. Thanks for coming to hang with us, guys. Happy July 4th. Happy Independence Day. I hope you guys have an amazing time. Whatever you're doing, watching fireworks or, you know, have a blast, and I will see you guys on Wednesday with the video, and then we will both be here for the whole entire Gold Cup like we have always been, right, Filippo? Pre-game and live stream at your channel, and then post-game at my channel. Christopher Park-Chinette, thank you, sir, for the super chat. You guys are awesome. We will talk to you soon. Have a great one. Happy Independence Day, all. Take care.